Hi, everyone. Happy August. Welcome to our monthly Q&A as part of the Navigating Parenting membership site. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. Thank you for being here and participating. Without you, we wouldn't have this beautiful community. So we got some great questions. We're just going to dive right in. The first question is, I have an issue with my 4-year-old. When we go places like the park, he wants to be next to me at all times. He needs to see me all the time. Even when we go places like we're at his school or familiar places to him, he still wants to be with me rather than playing with his friends. It starts to feel like I need professional help. I've never left him. I don't know why he's feeling this way or how to support him. This is a popular question. I want you to know that we'll use the word clinginess, but a child who, especially at 4 years old, who wants to be near their parent, even if they're in a safe space, is very, very normal. I personally, and you should always, like you said, you want to seek professional help. You should always, check with your child's doctor. I am not, a licensed professional in that way. So just prefacing with that, from my perspective as a parenting coach, it seems very normal. And I know that sometimes as parents, it's annoying and difficult, or we want our children, we want to be able to see our children just go off and feel comfortable and feel safe and all different, especially in environments where they should feel safe. But it's very normal for a child to want to stick around a safe adult, a safe parent. Um, it's when there's two different thoughts that come to mind when we're talking about the park, or we're talking about a space that looks familiar to them and they want to stick by you because you're there. It's, I think, very normal because you are their safe person. And sometimes when mommy's around, children just want to be near mommy. So we'll talk about how to handle that situation. But then there's you mentioned like when he's going to school. So I believe that if a child feels safe and really good at school, chances are they're going to be okay at drop off. Now, that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with school. Okay, school may be a very safe place, but there probably is something that is contributing to your child not wanting to go. And that can be really, really hard to figure out and to pinpoint. But oftentimes there is something that can be worked through. And there might always be something to work through with certain children, and separating from an adult that they feel safe and comfortable with. But when it comes to if they're going to school every day, and every day is really challenging, and it's not like they maybe, especially this year, we have to be really gentle with our kids because they've been home so much more because of COVID. Things have just been very topsy-turvy. It can take time for child to adjust to going into a new school, a new environment with a new, or even just a new teacher in a new classroom, right? Because they might not feel safe with that adult yet. And I think that it's actually a great sign in some ways when children don't just like automatically trust all the adults around them. So sometimes, starting a new school year can take time. And I think that that's really, really normal. Sometimes the Monday back after a long weekend is also really hard for children, even if they're in the middle of a school year, because you kind of got out of the routine and you're like, it's the Monday blues, right? Like you're going back into the Monday school week and you just want to be home. You just want to be with mommy. Some children are just more connected more clingy to their parents. And for us as parents, that can be challenging, but it's not a bad sign. It's actually a very, very normal thing to do and to be. Some things you don't want to do are push your child to go into a situation that they don't want to go into, because it will make them cling to you more. They will feel like you don't want them near you, or they may want to be near you more. It may just kind of fuel the fire. When we're talking about especially a sensitive child, it can take them a lot of time to warm up to an environment, even one that they know. When they know that mommy is close by, they want to be near mommy because mommy is there to safely, to safeguard them and protect them. And it really doesn't mean that there's anything anything wrong with them or anything wrong that you did. It's a kind of personality. They may be just more sensitive in that way. So one thing you want to do is you don't want to push them into the environment. You want to let them know that it's they can stay with you, right? Like if they want to stay with you, that they can stay with you, and you're going to hold them. Actually, you're going to hold them and keep them close so that they feel that you're not trying to get rid of them, so that they feel like you are okay with them being close to you, that you want them close to you, right? In fact, you can even kind of like try clinging onto them and see they might run in the other direction. But you want to, they will feel safer by you keeping them closer. Pushing them to go into a situation um, may mean, that they'll do the opposite. And the other thing is, just because it's a safe environment in your mind doesn't mean it's safe for them. Maybe something happened in that environment. Maybe they feel like it's, if you're at the park, you're at someone else's home, and that home, isn't, even if it's a home they know, maybe the structure of the home doesn't work for them, or the lack of structure at a park when there's like free play happening, and a child just has to like figure out what to do on their own, can also be challenging. So there's a host of reasons why this could be going on. And the best thing to do is to create a conversation with your child and help them figure out what's going on. And I gave you, I already gave you a few examples, a few thoughts. Hopefully that will, either one of them might be it, or it might help you to figure out what it is. But you just might be a child that doesn't like to just like run off with other kids so quickly, and that might not be something requiring professional help. It just might be their personality, and it also might not be a really bad thing. But making sure to create and cultivate a really safe space where they feel like it's okay, they can take their time. I'm doing this on your time, I'm not pushing you into playing, is really helpful. I hope that helps. If not, please send me any follow-up questions that you might have. The second question: my oldest is 6 and started hitting. He never hit as a young child, and now in older age is hitting. Is this normal? What can I do? So, right. So usually when we think of hitting, we think of toddlers, because it's a much more toddler-like response to something going on. But hitting is hitting means that the child is holding something inside. They have these big feelings and they don't know what to do with them. And so it's coming out through their hands or their feet if they're kicking, right, punching, like they don't know what to do with these big feelings. And so it's coming out of their body, because when we feel feelings, we feel them in our body, and hitting and punching is our way of expressing them. So it can be that your 6-year-old has gotten to a point where they've been holding in lots of feelings for a really long time, and now they are letting them out. It could be that they've seen a younger sibling hit, and so it might not have been their instinctive reaction beforehand, but now that they see how someone else is doing it, it's like kind of caught on to them. Maybe they started hitting and they're like, oh, that feels good, I see how I can hurt them, and or get out my feelings. And so they've learned to use it in that way. So is it normal? I mean, what's normal? Every child is so different. I don't think it's ever fair to ask, or it's okay that you asked it, but to compare children to, what is normal. Because I mean, we all learn things and do things at different ages. What can we do about it? So reading books about hitting is something that you can do. There is a great book, and I'm blanking on the name, but if you ask me this question or you're watching this and you want the name of a great book about hitting, please message me. I'd be happy to send it to you. I'm so sorry I don't have the book in front of me. I should have looked at the questions more before I started this. But it is a book you can find it on Amazon. It's like, if you just put in how to help my child when they're hitting. But essentially, hitting is an expression of feelings, okay? Of big feelings your child is having. So first of all, you want to help your child. First of all, we as parents need to understand that when our children hit, it's an expression of big feelings that they're feeling and they don't know what to do with them. So we want to notice that for ourselves. And then we want to, make sure that we can have conversations with our children about this. Like, I noticed you're hitting a lot. And, I imagine that you have these really big feelings inside and you don't know what to do with them. Right? So let's talk about, how does it feel when you hit? And they might say, it feels really good. I get all my feelings out. Oh, okay, great. So you need to hit. I can't let you keep hitting your siblings or me. It's not safe and it hurts. So what can you hit? What can you hit when you feel like you need to hit? If it really feels good to you, what can you hit that isn't someone else? Right? So that you can get the same satisfaction. The satisfaction for them might come in hurting the other person, and that doesn't make your child bad. Okay, they just see a satisfaction in the person who's annoying them in a different way getting hurt back because they feel like they need to hurt them back. So something we want to talk about is, another way to get a reaction or kind of create like an energetic flow between me and the person that I'm hitting is by talking to them. So instead of hitting my sibling, let me tell them how I'm feeling. Let me help them understand how I'm feeling, the pain that I'm feeling with my words, not by hurting them, but by expressing it to them so that I'm not instead making them feel the same pain in their body. You see? Because a lot of times when someone inflicts pain on us, we want to inflict the same amount of pain on them. So how can we create that flow of energy between two people, right? Without inflicting physical pain? How can I express myself? And then also, what can your child learn to do with their hands that isn't hitting when they feel like they need to? So can they like squeeze their hands into balls? Can they clap? Can they clap? Can they hug themselves? Can they put their hands on their belly and take deep breaths? What can your child do with their hands instead? And as a parent, you can, hold your child's hands and say, like, I can't let you hit. You don't want to do it in an aggressive way that hurts them, but like, I can't let you hit. I can't let you hit. I won't let you hit. This isn't safe. I can't let you hurt someone else. So you're not telling them that they're doing something bad, but you're just holding them so that they know that this isn't okay. We can't use our hands to hurt. It's not safe. The third question. I love your content on social media. Thank you. And I follow other parenting accounts who give great advice, but sometimes it doesn't work. What do I do? Well, this is a wonderful, wonderful question because something that I think is really important to know is that I think I speak for myself and I imagine for other parent coaches is that when we put content out there or we give scripts or we have like language to use, it's a proposed language. It doesn't mean that it's going to work for everyone. And that's okay. It's not meant to work for everyone. We're putting it out there for the person it might help with to demonstrate and give parents different ideas of ways of communicating things with their children. But it doesn't mean that that language will always work for you. It might, and that's great. And some of it might work and some of it might not work. But it's very normal that it might not work for you because the same language doesn't work. We're all just completely different human beings as parents. Something that might feel okay for me as a parent to share with my child might not feel comfortable for you to share with your child. And that's okay. Or your child might not be receptive to it. And my child might be, or vice versa. My child might not be receptive to something your child's receptive to. Or in one moment it works, and in another moment, the same moment, and you think, oh, I got this. It's not going to work. Listen, every situation and challenge is different. And as parent coaches, we're just trying to give you options of, tools for your tool belt. But I think it is really important to note that it will not work all the time for everyone, the same language, which for me is really important. And why I believe that every parent should be on their own, parenting journey, because what you're doing is you're figuring out what does and doesn't work for you and your children, right? Because everybody's so different. And so good, like on some level, if every script you see isn't working for you, I think that's it's just it's good, it's normal, it's like there's nothing wrong with anyone, because we all have different challenges. Now here's another thing. We can't memorize scripts in real life. Like you can do that for a TV show because the next piece of dialogue is written in, but in real life nothing is predictable. And so we can't just memorize scripts. A, because they won't apply to every situation, but B, because we also will not always remember scripts. Because when we're in a really challenging moment as a parent, and we're upset, we're triggered, which means something happened and it made me feel angry, it made me feel really upset and really uncomfortable, we're not going to be able to find that script in our brain because we're triggered, we're challenged. And so, a big part of a conscious parent's journey is doing their own internal work so that when we're upset, when something happens with our children that triggers us, we're able to self-regulate so that we can then go on to share the scripts, or think of this, the scripts in our mind that will work for our child in this moment, or apply the script in our own way to the challenge that's happening with our child in this moment. Right? So, social media is a beautiful, amazing, wonderful thing because it helps connect us to each other. It helps give content in a really easy to digest way, and in a way that you may not otherwise have access to it. But we have to remember that we're all humans and it's not always going to work, and to not feel bad when it doesn't work. Just kind of get up and look for the next thing. The last question for today. I feel so exhausted at the end of the weekend with my children. I feel bad because I feel so much relief when they go back to camp or school. What am I doing wrong? Well, I think that it's safe to say that most parents feel that way. The weekend is an unstructured time, usually. Maybe you have some structure in your weekends, which is awesome. And I give you lots of credit. A lot of times weekends are kind of all over the place. They're unpredictable. You have different kinds of days, right? Children don't know what to expect when they're in the weekend. Maybe some days they do, some days they don't, but things will always come up. One child wants to go one place, another child wants to go somewhere else. And it's really hard to please everyone. There might be a lot more fighting because the children are with each other and only each other, for a concentrated amount of time. And as a parent, not having that break is exhausting. It's really exhausting, and it's a lot. And I don't blame you for having a relief when your children go back to camp or school, because I think that, it's the calm after the storm. And I think it's important to take time on Monday mornings to regroup and to nurture yourself if you need it after a weekend, and appreciate all that you did throughout the weekend. The question is, what else can you do when you have time off to set yourself up to be able to go into the weekend strongly? By the end of Sunday night, you might be exhausted no matter what. But it's all about, how can I set myself up for success? What can I do to set my children up for success for the weekend? Maybe they need us to plan our days in advance so that they know what to expect. Family discussions about what we're going to do, so that we make sure that everyone gets to do something that they want to do, so that it feels fair and it feels equal and balanced. And I'm just thinking of ways that we can set ourselves up for more success during the weekend. Like, what can you prepare as far as food goes before the weekend starts? Because a lot of times we think, oh, weekend, we're going to be able to get a lot more done. But when we have children, especially young children at home, it doesn't work like that. So many more things come up for our children. So how can we prepare ourselves for the weekend? I think is a really, really great idea. And then, how can we take care of ourselves so that we feel strong on Friday before our kids come home? How do we give ourselves the time that we need Monday morning to kind of heal, or just wind down, cool down, calm down our nerves from the intensity of the weekend? How can we nurture ourselves on both ends? And then, is there a way to nurture ourselves throughout the weekend, even if it's like 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there? And I really, really don't believe that, I really believe that we can take almost anything and turn it into a moment of self-care if we take the moment to go deep and nurture ourselves and really connect with ourselves. Like, I see sometimes memes on social media, like, getting a shower alone is not self-care as a mom. I agree with the concept, meaning I agree. We should, just getting a shower alone isn't enough. We should be able to do the things that we love. But how can I turn shower into a self-care ritual? Do I get to take a few extra moments and just stand there with the warm water? And can I put some aromatherapy, essential oils? Or is there something I can do to deeply nurture myself while I'm taking that shower? So that, yes, it's alone time, but it can also be self-care. It can also nurture me. Can I do some sort of meditation? Is there a mantra, affirmations I'm going to put on my shower wall that I'm going to, repeat to myself in those 5 or 10 minutes of calm that I get, so that they really go deeply into me while I'm in the water, which is a nurturing and healing experience in and of itself. So, I don't think that there's any perfect answer to this. I think being with our children can be overwhelming and triggering in a lot of ways when it's so concentrated like that. Um, you know, when you don't have, most likely what you're saying is you don't have any time for yourself over the weekend, and that's a lot. And it's also like just one thing to the next. So how can you create structure in that weekend? How can you create some sort of routine so children know what to expect? And how can you just consistently make sure to take the time to set yourself up for success for the weekend? And then at the other end of it, how can you give yourself time to decompress? And what can you do during the weekend to give yourself some self-care time so that you come to the different challenges that you'll face with your children over the weekend from a calmer place, a less triggered place, so that you are able to take deep breaths in those difficult moments and perhaps allow your nerves to go up and down, but not like so up that they get completely shot. So thank you so much for the wonderful questions. I look forward to receiving more from you soon. Please feel free to send them to me. And I appreciate them, and we will see you again for next month's Q&A. Have a wonderful day.